Do you think, me putting the cap on is the first step in my journey? I noticed you're an ex-copper and now a pilot. Do you think there's hope for me to come out of radio and fly planes as well?
Mate. Anyone can do it. Come on.
Thank you for the confidence and the faith.
There you go.
Welcome, with you rocking that hat. I love it. It's looking
Barnesy,
great.
do you hear that? Maverick is actually going to fly one day. I'm going to get my wings.
You know what I've got that's even better than that? And look, on the line, we've got Stephen here, you're a pilot, and Chris, you head up MAF. Well, one of our viewers, our listeners, Graham from Bunbury, he has been inspired, Andy, by the fact that you're known as the MAF man now.
Am I?
Yeah, because is that right, Chris? You call him the MAF man?
Absolutely.
Maverick,
the MAF man.
Yeah.
There you go.
And so Chris has been inspired and he's put this together for you. I don't know if the guys are going to be able to see it, but it is actually Andy dressed up in a Maverick outfit, and it says here, Andy McLennan, Top Gun MAF Rick.
Well, there you go.
And he's got the MAF logo on it. He's wearing headphones. Actually, and I don't know if that's a pilot or perhaps if you are actually more of the ground crew, but there you go.
I think that's got a little bit of an astronaut feel to it, Phil. But look, I do love.
Don't get ahead of
Yeah,
yourself.
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Let me finish. That's an introduction statement. But what I was going to say is that look, I do love Mission Aviation Fellowship. I've flown in the MAF birds in Papua New Guinea. They've got me safely to my destination every time. But the reason I love this hat so much, it's the perfect blue. It's my favourite shade of blue, and it just looks good. So I like it. So I do wear it a lot. That's why they think I'm MAF boy.
Cool, mate. Very cool. Unfortunately, Stephen couldn't afford one.
No.
Oh, no.
Chris, I have to use my Cessna one.
We're going to have to raise
I'll get
funds.
you one, mate.
Well,
Thanks, Chris.
I'm
All right,
thinking
that's good.
Christmas bonus. If you work really hard between now and Christmas, Stephen, that'll be your Christmas bonus from your boss. Keep working, brother. Keep working.
Chris will send me one. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I expect it in the mail, Chris. Thank you.
Now look what you.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get serious now, okay? So,
Yeah.
Phil, I'm so happy today. We're joined by Stephen Biggs. He's actually a former police officer. He's now a bush pilot with Mission Aviation Fellowship. And just to make sure we all stay above board today, Chris Barnes, the CEO of Mission Aviation Fellowship, joins us as well. And the boys are back. Guys, so good to have you today on Rise and Shine.
It's great
Thank
to be
you.
here. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. And Maverick, you're looking really cool today, mate.
Oh,
Really
look,
hot.
and that's what everybody says. I don't believe it, though, Chris. But Stephen, you've got an interesting story. You're a former police officer with the QPS, the Queensland Police Service. You're now a bush pilot. How does a copper become a Mission Aviation Fellowship pilot?
Yeah, great question. I wanted to be a pilot since I was 8 years old, and I got my pilot's license before I could drive a car. Mum and Dad used to drive me to the airport, and then I'd get in the plane and go around and do whatever I wanted on my own. So it's pretty crazy. We actually joined MAF first. I had 3 little children, so we took our boys with us out on the mission field. I was working in living and working in Arnhem Land, and I spent some time in South Africa and Mozambique and Madagascar, Botswana and Namibia, flying all through Southern Africa. And then when our kids were at the age we wanted to put them into school in Australia, we came back to Australia. And that's when I joined the police. And so I was in Brisbane, Queensland Police Officer for 11 years. I always had it on my heart that I wanted to go back to MAF. MAF has always been my passion. It's been what the Lord's had on my heart ever since I was young. And I love working with MAF, just love it. And so when our kids grew up, while I was a police officer, they grew up and they went to school and university. And then my wife and I then went back to Africa in 2019. We served in Uganda and then in Liberia in West Africa. We're there for 4 years. And then 2 or 3 years ago, we started having grandkids. Well, we didn't. My kids did. Started having kids and we had grandkids, which was wonderful. And the call for home came around and the opportunity came up. I'm now a training captain and flight instructor here in Mariba in beautiful North Queensland. And I get to work with current MAF pilots in PNG, in Arnhem Land, in Timor, in Africa, training them, upskilling them, sharing with them, mentoring them, praying with them, just kind of giving back a little bit of what I've got from MAF over the years. And I see what they do. I see those guys out on the field, and they've got kids with them as well, and they're fantastic fathers, and they do a great job. And I love what I do. And so here I am And that's a very quick story, but that's where I am.
Wow, if someone's listening today, Stephen, I'm just imagining they might be thinking, MAF, what on earth is this? Because it's incredible the ministry that Mission Aviation Fellowship do as you're flying into these remote areas. You've been on the front line. What are some of the things that you've seen right on the edge of that MAF have been able to deliver to these remote communities?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the stories are just never ending. But, we do a lot of medivacs, particularly in places like Timor. The guys there do a lot of medivacs. I've flown in Timor a bit and done some medivacs myself. And they do literally hundreds of medivacs.
Wow.
And that's a common story around the MAF world. In Liberia, there were places that were so remote that it would take 3 or 4 days to drive. And yet it'd take me an hour in my aeroplane, an hour and a half, sometimes in my aeroplane. And that's what MAF can do. That's the ability that we have with aviation to be able to get into these remote areas where there are families that are just stuck in the middle of nowhere. And so, they need education, they need healthcare, they need the gospel. And so for us to be able to get in there, and so I've done medivacs where if we didn't do that, for sure the person would have passed away. And so, do that. And that's a common story around the world with MAF. That's why we do what we do.
Yeah, you do have an amazing story. I mean, I like how you just put your family first, your kids first. You came back to Australia, became a police officer. But was it like that old story? You know that old story where the eagle somehow ends up living with the chickens and it thinks it's a chicken and it's hanging out with the chickens, but every now and then it would look up and see eagles flying in the sky and just sort of think, oh, I'd like to be able to fly one day too. Was that you when you were in the QPS, mate? You were working as a cop, but deep down inside, every time you looked up and saw a plane fly overhead, you're like, oh, I want to get back up there and in the sky?
Absolutely. I mean, once you get, I'm sure all the pilots out there will tell you, once it's in your blood, that's it. It's in your blood. You can't get it out. You're always a pilot. And you're right. Working in the police felt like I was working or dealing with a lot of chickens a lot of time. Use your language.
Or turkeys.
Yeah,
the other analogy is turkeys, yeah.
Yeah, it all works. But yeah, no, look, I've always been a MAF pilot. I've always wanted to be a MAF pilot. It's all I've ever wanted to do. And so the police was great. I made a lot of great friends. I enjoyed being a police officer. I really did. Running around, driving fast and tackling people and stuff was fun. But God's always had it on our hearts, both my wife and I, to be in missions. And I love flying and I love MAF. And so for sure, the goal was always to go back. And like you say, we put our kids first. They went through school, they graduated, and then my wife and I were able to go away, which isn't as easy as it sounds. It was hard leaving our kids at home. We've had our kids with us on the mission field, and we've been without our kids on the mission field, and both have their pros and cons for sure.
As a dad, because we're coming up to Father's Day, I mean, that's beautiful to have your kids and actually take them on an adventure with you. What was that like when they were little and you were in the trenches with the kids, but then you're also flying? I'm thinking your wife must be incredible, but what was that like as a dad, that adventure with the kids of faith?
My wife is incredible. Yes, thank you. I'm glad you pointed that out. I couldn't agree more. She is incredible, and she was homeschooling our kids for most of the time we were in Arnhem Land. And so, with 3 young boys, that was not an easy task. And I'm out flying around, loving life, and she's at home with the boys, homeschooling, which she enjoyed as well. But yes, it was great to have the boys up there with us. They got down and dirty. We were living in an Aboriginal community called Yirrkala. We were in Elcho Island first, and then we were in Yirrkala. And, they got along great with the Aboriginal kids. And, I'd go out and they'd all just be in the mud together, and they'd be playing footy together. And it was great. And the fishing there is pretty cool too. So, we had great times there with the boys. Really, really did. Yep.
Awesome, mate. I'm just going back to your police officer days. So, like you said, you enjoyed driving fast, lights and sirens. Was there ever a time, because I've seen that TV show Dukes of Hazzard, and I'm pretty sure Boss Hogg and the sheriff every now and then managed to get their cars airborne. Off the record, Stephen, of course, this is not official. Did you ever get one of those police cars just off the ground a little bit as a pilot?
Yep. Okay. Right. Let's just say I made a couple of nice 4-point landings, and we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
Respect, brother. Respect. You got me. We're on the team. Hey, you know what? Can we take a short break? It's so good to hear a little bit of your story, Stephen. But when we come back, I believe there's a big Father's Day thing going on with MAF, and we'd love to hear about that. So, boys, can you stick around a little bit longer?
Love to.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we are joined by Chris Barnes, the CEO of Mission Aviation Fellowship, as well as Stephen Biggs, who's a current pilot with MAF. And we're going to come back after a couple of songs and a break to hear more about Mission Aviation Fellowship and what they're doing for Father's Day this year. Well, we've got Stephen Biggs. He's a former Brisbane police officer. He's now a pilot with Mission Aviation Fellowship, as well as Chris Barnes, the CEO of Mission Aviation Fellowship. They're joining us again on Rise and Shine today. Boys, what are we doing for Father's Day this year?
We're doing fuel for Father's Day. So what we're doing is we're looking to, instead of buying those, you know what, you buy that Maverick book, or you buy some socks, or the usual gifts that you get, Dad, the box of chocolates, right? Yeah. This year, here's the opportunity to go on the MAF website. So go on maf.org.au/dad, DAD. And there you'll find a range of cards that we've got that you can buy jerry cans, right? You can buy 50 litres of fuel, you can buy 20 litres of fuel. And so instead of buying those socks, you can buy Dad some fuel. And that fuel will go in the planes, and that will keep us helping people, supporting people who really need our help in isolated communities.
What does the fuel mean, Chris? Like, I'm just thinking, as you've got people out there right now, and they're like, actually, that's a good idea. I could buy Dad something that's meaningful. Putting fuel in these planes, there's an opportunity to save lives, isn't there, Chris?
Absolutely. There really is, right? You look at even a short flight, right, can make a difference, right? And we've got people, whether it's in Arnhem Land or Timor or other countries. I mean, there was a young lady, Juvina in Timor-Leste recently, who was bitten by a snake, right? She's 4 years old. She's out in a remote community, and the local hospital, there's no real hospital there, but there's no anti-venom. So she was in a bad way. And with her dad, he reached out. We were able to get a flight in there. Within 20 minutes, we had them in Dili, and she survived. Wow. And without that, she would not have made it, right? And so that card, buying that fuel, that's what enables us to do.
Gee, that story alone just completely justifies the whole ministry, doesn't it? To save that one little human's life. And who knows what she's going to do with her life. She may go on to do something great for her nation or her local community. But, yeah, I really like this idea. So dads, instead of receiving a gift that, like you said, Chris, you know, we're all dads. The amount of Father's Day gifts I've received over the years, and they don't really serve much practical use in my life. But to actually be able to receive a gift that the dads then gift to someone else, like that beautiful little girl on Timor there who was rescued by Mission Aviation Fellowship. I really like this initiative.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, look, we're excited about it. We've got a special. You've been helping us with our 80th anniversary, and so we've even got a special 80th anniversary jerry can card. Right. So if you go on the website and look that up, I mean, that is particularly cool. And so all of these ideas are just around, we can't fly those planes without fuel, and we need the support of your listeners to help us with that. And it really does. It makes such a difference.
Well, Chris, we are so excited to be able to highlight that today. We're going to be talking about presence here on Rise and Shine. And this is something that's not going to get lost. It's certainly a really important initiative, and we encourage everyone to jump in and have a look.
This could be the greatest Father's Day gift some of us ever received, because we're not just being blessed, we're actually being a blessing. So, Chris, just remind us again, we go to MAF, is it .com.au/Father's Day? Is that where we go?
Gosh, you need to go onto the World Wide Web, and then
what's that? Haven't heard that one.
World Wide
the
Web.
InstaWeb?
Is that www?
www.
I've heard about it. And then where do we go after that?
.maf. .org.
Oh, you're an org. Yep.
We're an org, mate. Dog, mate.
Of course they are.
.au.
Yep.
And then dash.
Yep.
I'll spell it for you because I know what you like. DAD.
Oh, Dad. Okay, Dad. Can I do that backwards as well? Does it work backwards and forwards?
That one you can.
That only last bit. Oh, dear. So we are encouraging you to head over to maf.org.au/dad.
You nailed it.
Get all the details. I'm looking at them right now. I love the cards. There's even one for Andy. You can colour in yourself.
Oh, I love it.
So you can colour in a card for Dad.
Yep.
That's very nice. Amazing.
Come on, dads, let's get on board. Tell our kids to buy us an MAF gift card for fuel so that MAF can continue to be a blessing all over the world. Chris Barnes and Stephen Biggs, we want to thank you so much for joining us from Mission Aviation Fellowship here on Rise and Shine.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.